Hey, fam jam members, how you doing? Good to see you guys. I had something on my mind that I thought might be helpful for you guys, and wanted to talk to you about it a little bit. And it is a very commonly discussed feeling, the feeling of fear. There are a lot of things in our birth chart that can come together and create fears. We all have fears in different areas. Some of us have common fears, some of us uncommon fears. Nonetheless, we have them. And, it's a tricky topic because people talk about fear in terms of manifestation and focus. And what you focus on is where what you are likely to manifest. This is kind of true, but it's not really being fully explained. Okay, so let's talk about that topic and break it down, because if you don't understand it, you can trip up and actually it can work to your detriment instead of to your benefit. So let's make sure that we know exactly how to handle fear in terms of being successful in life. Okay, so fear is a feeling, it's an emotion. And because what do we know about emotion as far as shadow work and the subconscious? If we just simply say, don't fear, then that is really encouraging people, us, me, and you, to repress that fear down into our subconscious. So you can't just get rid of fear, it's going to stay. Okay. So you can't just tell a person, don't fear. It is better and more healthy to acknowledge the fear just like you do any other emotion when you are doing shadow work, right? Acknowledge sadness, acknowledge heartbreak, acknowledge this. I feel sad, and that's okay. It's okay to be fearful. That is a part of the human experience, okay? It is not wrong to have fears. It is wrong to say that you don't have fears when you do. Okay. When you repress those fears, that is what brings the focus, okay, to that energy. Because remember, what we bury in the subconscious is what actually is the hand that rocks the cradle in the experiences that we manifest. So, the best way to deal with fear is to integrate it just like you would any other emotion. Yes, I am afraid. And a good way to work toward healing this is to do things anyway. You know how we talk about, I say this sometimes in readings, fear, but do it anyway. Do it in, sometimes you got to do it scared, and that's okay. And what you realize, the more that you confront your fear and you look at it head on and you don't let it dictate your actions, the more you prove to yourself that you're going to be okay. Okay, because when you take that action, one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to have success or you're going to have failure. Is failure horrible? No, failure is how we learn. Failure isn't a bad thing. That just shows us, oh, this is not the way to success. Let's try it a different way. So through facing our fears and acknowledging our fears rather than repressing our fears and saying, yes, I have fear of this and I'm doing it anyway. That is how we manage and use our fear and harness and channel that energy into actually being helpful in manifesting what we want. So don't ever just, understand that fear is not a problem. Fear is a symptom of a deeper underlying problem that is causing that fear. That is likely, a wound that we have, something we were told a lot. You'll never amount to anything. Oh, you can't sing, or you can't dance, or you can't, are you dumb at math, or, whatever, right? Um, Maybe we got beat up a lot when we were in school, right? In elementary school or whatever. And so we have physical fears or whatever, okay? Or we feel like we're not athletic because we tripped a lot, okay? Do it anyway. It's going to help you to integrate and confront. You face your fears. You don't deny your fears. You face them and you acknowledge, yes, I am afraid, but I'm going to do it anyway. Is it necessary to face every fear that you have? I'll leave that up to you. My question is it holding you back from what you want? That's how you know if it's something that you need to address. Maybe you've got some kind of a phobic fear of, like me, of frogs. So far, that hasn't really held me back from pursuing things that I want or my dreams. But if that should be the case, then guess what? I'm going to deal with that. Okay. But other fears that I have dealt with, just to be vulnerable with you, is a fear of vulnerability, a fear of being emotionally available and open with people and sharing that I have weaknesses and struggles and challenges. And there are days that I am sad. There are days that I cry, and there are days that I fear emotional vulnerability, particularly with romance. And that is okay because that is part of my imperfections and part of my journey of continuous improvement, acknowledging it and facing it. And every day I am working more towards facing and confronting the fears that hold me back. Some of us have fears of abandonment, fears of success, fears of being well known, right? All of those things. And that's okay. But what you need to ask yourself, first, acknowledge the fear. Then ask yourself, is this holding me back from doing something that would lead me to something that I want or something that would be successful for me or fun or what have you, right? Ask yourself those questions, and that's going to let you know if this is something that you should work on. Okay. So don't simply say, don't be afraid. Ask yourself, why am I afraid? What do I really have to fear? Right? Let's be honest. Let's talk about me and fear of emotional vulnerability. What do I have to fear? Heartbreak, right? I can assure you that at my age, I have gone through a lot of heartbreak and I have survived every single one of them. And I am all the better for it. I'm better than ever. So, worst case scenario, I go through a heartbreak and I get to be an even better person than I am today. So, look at it that way. All right. Now, certainly, I'm not going to go into a situation and become emotionally vulnerable with somebody that's exhibiting, traits that I know are going to break my heart, right? We're going to look at red flags and that sort of thing. We're going to do our due diligence, but at the same time, let's not let fear hold us back. Let's embrace fear and use that energy. Okay. Fear is an energy. And it's just like adrenaline or anything else, right? The nervousness sometimes that we have when we go forward and speak in public can actually be harnessed and used effectively, right? When we face it and acknowledge it and say, I'm doing it anyway, and it's not going to hold me back. All right. And you know what's funny? A lot of you would never believe this. Early in my life, in high school and middle school, when I had to give speeches in front of the class, I was likely the most nervous student in the entire classroom. I would turn red. My voice would shake. I would be hot and sweaty. I would have tears welling up in the corners of my eyes. My voice you could tell it was really, really, I mean, I was that kid that the teacher would be in the back of the room going, oh my God, bless her heart. It's horrible. I mean, it was really bad. I had horrible anxiety about public speaking. Over time, it became my strong point, and it's one of my best traits, right? I learned to speak publicly in my professional career. I had to address big crowds many times of some high rollers, right? And swinging dicks. And, the mayor, I have spoken in crowds where there were politicians, the mayor, the governor, bank presidents, CEOs of major corporations. I have had that in my career, folks. And I don't talk about that a lot because it's not always relevant. But in this case, it is. And I'm using my own experiences as an example. It's possible not just to overcome that thing that we fear, but that thing that we fear the most might be that thing that takes us to the very place that we're most successful, right? You see it in memes that step that you are so afraid to take might be the very one that takes you to the best place ever in your life. So, you know, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, right? Fear is just something that we can use and harness and channel. And now, when I speak publicly, and of course, I do that all the time, right, on YouTube, right? Uh, but when I speak publicly now, I actually enjoy it and I get hyped up about it, but I get excited because I know that I am skilled at it. And you can do the same thing. The very thing that you fear the most, you can make your superpower. I promise. I am walking, talking proof. So I hope this has inspired you and given you some insight of how I feel that it is helpful for you to manage your fear. All right. Take care, Fam Jam. I love you so much as always.